Welcome home. Today's topic of discussion is aphorism, a brief statement that holds nuggets of practical truth. A saying that always stuck with me. And you can use anything simple as you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Something as simple as that, but something that's a little bit more of substance to gnaw on. And it's a reflection of where we're at in these times, in the society, where we're at in 2026. Something I like to come back to. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. And those good times create weak men. And those weak men bring us right back around to those hard times. The cyclical cycle of society. Where we're at in these times of 2026. This was the original idea for the video. And as of recording this video, it is June 15th, 2026. Yesterday we lost Oliver Tree at 32 years old in a freak accident of two helicopters colliding. How that happens is a little suspicious. Now, with that, could not wait any longer to make this video, especially with everything going on in what the music industry does, selling people a dream. Now, all in all, it is never easy losing anybody, let alone, a family member that's someone that's close to you, let alone an influencer, someone you grow up with, you see progress in their field, progress in their career, and let alone where he was at in branching off, leaving and separating his label. Even at 32, it seems it's too young. Even somebody who's in my early 30s, it doesn't register. It still feels too young. Even when back in the day, back in 2017 when we lost Little Peep, that was one of the deaths that kind of hit me close to home, mainly because we were only 7 months apart. Granted, Gustav Var, he was able to travel the world at the age that he was, and, I was doing my own thing, fucking around, right? So, to have that contrast with somebody else and say, okay, well, let's do a little bit of self-reflection and see where we're at and what we're doing with our own lives, and how can we do better? What can we ultimately... Hang on. I just have to look this up real quick, just because before I continue and I get just slammed in the comment section. If my memory serves me correct, it was 2017. Yes, November 15th, 2017. Okay. Just had to check because the comment section is open and it'll do what it does, right? Even he had his own gripes with the music industry and wanted better. He wanted better for people. And the problem is that the music industry, while artists do get, they get all the money that they get publicly. It's public because it's just a loan. They are selling you a dream. That is all. They are making your career. With all the lyrics that you could call back to for Little Peep and just fucking dying alone. And how that ended up being what the demise ended up being. Even with Oliver Tree's lyrics. Fallen from the sky 1,000 miles away. It hits differently. Obviously, any artist, when they're gone, their art is valued much more. And at least with Little Peep, his mother had been able to absorb all the rights for her son, which as she should. Somebody that has lived multiple lives. I'm no stranger to death at all whatsoever. In my own background, being a CNA for 2.5 years, I was trained to work with geriatrics and ended up working with the mentally and physically disabled. So, death is. I've seen it. I've seen plenty of it my own self. So it doesn't necessarily affect me as much as others would, but we're still human. So tying that in with how weak men have created these hard times, whether you want to look at it geopolitically, overall the state of the world, where we're at with our technology, as to how teaching the next generation has just fallen to the wayside, and we keep kicking the can down the road. The point of making today's video, lumping it all in together, is to continue to chase your dream. Now, I'm nobody to continue to uphold anybody else's legacy or message, anything like that. But what I can say is, with the many lives that I have lived, the dreams and aspirations that I've gone out and conquered, as you continue to see, because with this actually getting posted and when it comes out, we're growing the YouTube channel. And as of right now, we have a couple songs on Spotify out of the 34-minute album. But whether there's going to be more music videos to go along with the other songs on the album, that's up to my own discretion and as to whenever I decide to upload that content. Nonetheless, my own accolades took me 5 years to make a 34-minute album. And from there, made my first music video for the intro song into the album. And for the past year, I've been working on my own videography. I've created a portfolio on Instagram, which is why now we are branching out to YouTube into getting out of that exclusivity. Now, by no stretch of the means is this easy or simple. You have to be in it for the long game. Doesn't matter who believes in you. What matters is the person that's looking in the mirror. Do you believe in yourself? You're the only one that has the dream. You're the only one that sees the vision. Who else is supposed to believe you other than your own self? Hell, you're the one that came up with the idea. Make it happen. Why not? Why not it be you? I started making music because I didn't hear enough of what I liked in the mainstream. So, what ended up happening with me, in the 5 years of making my album, I came across finally defining what my genre is. Alternative synthwave metal. It speaks for itself. It's not for everybody. It is its own niche, but I make what I make because I enjoy what I do. Just like when you go onto my portfolio of different genres of videography, I make timeless recaps. It does not matter. Excuse me. It does not matter if it was 2 months ago or longer. Doesn't matter. My kind of art is timeless. I want to be able to take you to a different world to get you out of this mindset. Take you out of your own life and whatever you're dealing with. Now, whether that's for you or it's not, musically, that's up to your own discretion. Music is subjective. Any art form is. But it is much easier to sell you visually. Auditorial wise, you had to take time, sit back, relax, get yourself in the mood if you've had a long day. And sometimes you don't have to, depending on what genre you're listening to. But if it's just a roll of the dice, you might be pleasantly surprised. Right? So, where does that leave us now with how weak men have created these hard times? I would define these hard times as, well, more definitively, weak men. Weak men fall to their emotion. They give into the chaos it brings. And that, if you can't make it productive, is unruly chaos. Some might say it's a little bit more prominent in other areas than others. Of course, there are safe spaces and there are not. Where we live here in America, everyone is accepted. Everybody has a voice. And that is the freedom that 250 years ago our forefathers fought for. Now, obviously they couldn't have projected to where we would have been now, let alone what the internet has brought for us. As young in its infancy as it is, being only what, I mean, the internet came out in the mid 90s, so yeah, just about 30 years. It's 30 years old, you know. Still rambunctious and chaotic. But at the same time, it does connect all of us together, one way or another. It's allowing me to talk to you, have you listen. The whole point of this is long form content is difficult to digest in this society that we're in, where everything is just always searching to grab your attention, drain your dopamine, and make you submissive. A lot of that can come from, or a lot of the resilience to go against that is to get your body moving. Whether you're going in the gym to be a bodybuilder, a fucking yogi, whatever. Our bodies are meant to move. And if you're not doing that, what are you doing? Sure, some people can get away with it. But even if it's a simple challenge of 10,000 steps. Hey, everybody has a starting point, whether it's 10,000, 5, 100, 10, whatever. Everyone's got their own ups and downs, their own starting point. But that's when it comes down to, where are you? Where are you at in your self-reflection? Where are you where you are not? Where are you since you are not your best self? Because if you're already there, I mean, hey, pat yourself on the back. But there's a lot of people that are wandering aimlessly through this world. And sometimes they just need that nudge. Unfortunately, and fortunately for some, that comes in isolation. That comes with finding it by yourself. And then that kind of bleeds into my own life in being raised as an only child. Yes, I've got 2 older siblings, but on my side of the family, I was the only child. And matter of fact, the black sheep of the family. So, I mean, I consider myself a jack of all trades, master of none, but better than a master of one. Okay? So, one way or another, you have to be able to find what your path is. The difficult part is that no one's going to be able to figure that out for you. And you have to be willing to die trying. However far you get, you have to be able to go to sleep at night knowing that if you don't wake up tomorrow, that's okay. I did enough. I've done enough. The reason why I am here is because if I had to shoot into the future where I am 80 years old, I'm in a nursing home, I've got the entire family surrounding me, and all I can say is, at least I kept the family together. To me, that is not good enough. Follow your dreams, because that will haunt you with regret. the scariest part about, or at least one of the comment sections, really reflecting on, everybody wants to die in their sleep because they want it painless. They just want to, just go like nothing, right? But I've got to say, one of the scariest things in agreeing with this person is that their comment was, if you are in an aerial, if something is going wrong and you are in an aerial aircraft, you have enough time to understand that these are your final moments. It's not just heart attack, knock over, or you're caught up in combat and you get hit with a stray bullet. I remember listening to a Marine recount when he was on the barracks in Afghanistan. Just stray bullet. One of his guys was working out on the doing bench presses and got struck by a stray bullet, and that's how he went out. It wasn't something that was heroic. It wasn't something that was. He was just doing his workout routine. And hey, there are some people that also can be working out and heart blows up and that's it, man. Curtains close and that's a wrap. So in these difficult times that we are in, the fact that there's just going to be another useful idiot waiting to be next in line as an industry plant for the music industry and just get used and be a useless pawn instead of actually being somebody that can make a difference, change what this fucked up system really is, that's just constantly taking our time, that's constantly just draining us of our life force, so that you can look back in your whatever part of your life is where you're having a midlife crisis and you realize that you've wasted so much time. Granted, I'm in my early 30s. Yes, there's some things I would like to have changed. Different paths I would have liked to have taken. But it would not have made me who I am today as the man that I am. And my biggest thing, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this video series of I'm Home, is mainly because I never documented anything from the beginning. And there's no, even something that as simple as that, as a simple regret. Going back to my own weightlifting journey, I started off at 123 pounds and gained 37 pounds of muscle, going up to 150 pounds. My highest was 160. Not saying, fucking, crazy numbers, but for someone that had been skinny all their lives, one thing that had always rubbed me off the wrong way was it was never understood. It was never really understood that, like, you would, if you were to tell somebody who's overweight and you were to say, let's say they're ordering another cheeseburger. Some people's reactions would be, do you really need that? Do you really need another one? Right? That's just kind of the, general consensus of fat shaming, essentially, right? But nobody ever talks about skinny shaming. People would tell me, oh, you need to eat a cheeseburger. And then there came that time where that was no longer directed at me and it was directed towards somebody else. And I was an observer of that conversation. So it wasn't something that had happened overnight, but it was just as disrespectful as saying, do you really need another one? I mean, come on. You could lose a few pounds, I mean, if we're being honest, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just fucking rude. Especially with somebody, it's like, okay, well, Are you going to buy me the cheeseburger so I can gain some weight? Or are you going to get me the diet, the meal plan, the right nutrition that's going to be able to promote growth instead of just continuing to break down your body? Um, so in that, and I'm also somebody that is a workaholic, so that, also factored into it. So it's just go, 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 because personally I like to actually operate on an empty stomach. Just like if you were to go to the gym, if you're gonna have a huge meal or just any kind of meal in general, maybe a fruit snack, like a fruit snack, like a pear or a sweet bell pepper, an orange, grapes, strawberries, kiwis, anything. Yeah, you're keeping it light, and it's going to keep you hydrated to a certain degree outside of whatever you bring to hydrate yourself. But if you have a greasy, hefty meal before you work out, you're going to want to throw up. So you're going to want to go in with a moderately empty stomach. Okay? So that can be applied to other facets in life and whatnot. But that's kind of that's being a workaholic then goes into the grind culture and just hustling essentially. So you know how do you want to spend your time? What do you want to do? All that all that time of grinding and whatnot, I mean, it's gotten me my equipment, and it's going to get me even more. But you have to keep on moving forward. It's not going to get any better. Like I said, I wish I had done. I wish I had started my progress sooner. It was never. It was never. It was never. It was never documented from the beginning. And what's nice is at least you can have just that, the before and after, because you may look in the mirror and you don't see any change because you're in the same body. For you it's slow, but for other people that no longer, there's been a time gap. That's when there's that recognition. That's when there's that, hey, you've been working out, you've been lifting some weights, shit, congrats, it's paid off. And at the same time, it's never over. You just keep on going. So it's it's never over until you call it quits. And granted, there are ebbs and flows with time where, hey, sometimes in this season we're going to focus on this. In this season we're going to focus on that. More notably, my own self. For 5 years I worked on an album, a 34-minute album. So, yeah, let me take a break so I can come back to this with a fresh set of ears, fresh perspective. Not to say that I don't have, ideas and projects that I want accomplished in the future, but let's do this. When it came to my music video, I pretty much only had to hire people to do camera work. I wrote the script, I had all the props, I had the location, I I wrote the song, so I had that taken care of, and I had a general idea with the script. I had a general idea of, okay, let's get what we can with the recordings and capture the scenes that we're looking for, the deliverables, and see what we can make. And with the help of my videographers, who we go back and forth with on projects, hey, um, the tough pill to swallow is that it never ends. It never ends, and you have to be okay with that. Well, yes, you have to also be content with, okay, I've done everything I can. Yes, we have projects that we still have in the vault that we want worked on, and we are going to strive for those. But tomorrow is not guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. So, what kind of man does that make you at the end of the day? What are your goals? What are you striving for? And how can you accomplish what you are striving for? What stone have you left unturned. That may just be that final swing of the pickaxe, and you reach diamonds. You finally get to what you were searching for all along. I made music, and it ended up putting me in the path of videography for the past year. Now, after I've made my own music video, and I've made content for other people, and I'm continuing to make content on my own, it has its ebbs and flows. And just like this, for however long this video series journey goes on for, then that also ushers in the time for me to self-reflect into the next path that I want to take. Where can I find the time to execute X, Y, and Z? So, how long will these hard times last? Who knows? The answer lies in with you as to whether or not you're going to continue to be a weak man that folds to his emotions instead of creating his own boundaries, protecting his peace, protecting your own solitude in what makes you the man that you strive to be. The best version of yourself that you aren't today. And maybe you don't see that because you're grinding so hard and everybody else can see it but you. Anyway, it's almost like I'm talking to myself, which I am until this gets posted. But nonetheless, that's the overall idea today. And we're at 27 minutes now. I think we've covered a lot here. And, you know, it's never easy losing somebody. But we have to keep moving forward. Life goes on. So, aphorism. Little nuggets of practical wisdom, right? It's a bold topic. It's hard to cover in just about half an hour, but it gets you thinking. And that's the whole point of this. I'm home. I'm happy to have had this conversation with you. You can go off and think about the things I've talked about, how it may reflect with your life, what you might be able to change, how you can do better tomorrow. So, leaving you off with our little comment or our phrase for the comment section. Today we're going to go with spoiled milk. Spoiled milk will be the phrase in the comment section that'll let me know you've made it this far. Aphorisms. Gotta love them. But with that, I bid you farewell. I'm Mukade Ghoul. Thank you for showing up, and I'll see you next time.